Happy 20th birthday, podcasting. The latest from podnews.net with Libsyn. Stop dreaming, start podcasting.
Dave Weiner, I feel like a new immigrant in this blogger world where you're a kind of founding father. Walk me around it.
The first podcast in the world, made 20 years ago this Sunday. In a special edition today, our newsletter looks back at some of the history, and we speak to the first podcaster in the world, Christopher Lydon. In October 2000, Adam Curry and Dave Weiner invented podcasting, but it took until 2003 for the first RSS feed with an audio enclosure to be made. Hosted by Christopher Lydon, his first interviewee, Dave Weiner, talking about blogging.
It is what you make of it. Everybody brings something different to it and different set of expectations, and everybody molds it to be whatever it means to them.
It took another year for it to be given a name by Ben Hammersley and Danny J. Gregoire, a name first used on what we'd call a podcast these days, I guess, by Dave Slusher in September 2004.
But what I'm doing right here, and what Adam's doing, and what Dave Weiner is doing, and what IT Conversations are doing, that's podcasting. I think that is the term.
And it was another year before Steve Jobs introduced podcasting to the iPod.
Adam Curry is one of the guys that invented podcasting. And he has a podcast called The Daily Source. Let me go ahead and subscribe to that.
20 years on, what does the first podcaster remember of that first show? We spoke to Christopher Lydon.
There was a tingle of experimental adventure, and I thought it was a moment because the Iraq War was already a moment, in my view, a completely unexamined, undebated, illegal American war, a horror story unfolding. And I thought on a podcast, people could break the public silence and say just that. And they did. Suddenly the people had a voice. I thought that was critically interesting and important.
And what does he think of podcasting now?
It's not the way I expected it. I mean, the instant commercialization of this space was a surprise, and I'd say a disappointment. On the other hand, it's okay. They have their audience, I guess. Other people have ours. I love the spirit of this little collective we belong to, Hub and Spoke, really some extraordinary people and voices all over the place.
You'll find the full interview in the Pod News Weekly Review next week. And is he still podcasting? He is. Open Source is the longest running podcast in the world. This week it celebrates the 20th anniversary of the show and of podcasting with podcaster Erica Heilman.
Public radio and media doesn't have a lot of time for the uneventful moments of living, but they can be artfully told, and they can be profoundly interesting.
You can find Open Source with Christopher Lydon wherever you get your podcasts. This podcast is sponsored by Libsyn, the original podcast host from November 2004. Today, Libsyn has an all-in-one podcast tool that allows you to plan, record, and create your podcast today. Stop dreaming, start podcasting with Libsyn, LIBSYN.com. And that's the latest. We're back to normal on Monday. Happy 20th birthday, podcasting. And there's more at podnews.net.